welcome to the Spider's Web, and as you can see we're doing the big beastie. Yes, this is the final miniature painting from the Heart of Cormyr book set. This is the Copper Dragon. So this is the final video in the painting series. This is the final video in the painting series, yes. I'm going to be doing one more video after this showing you how I base the figures. So what I do with the bases, how I go about it and how I paint it up. So you've got that one to look forward to straight after this. But for now it's the Copper Dragon we're going to be concentrating on. And I'm assuming it's called the Copper Dragon because it's covered in copper. I'm assuming it's working the same way as was written in The Hobbit about Smaug and dragons in general, where they hoard gold and silver and precious metals and they lie about in it and they get covered in the metal. So they're if I get this right, the bodies actually look as though it's made out of precious metal. So I'm assuming that's why this is a Copper Dragon. It's not actually made out of copper, it's just covered in copper. So with that, let's get it started. Now, while it's a big model, I've got a bigger brush. This is a proper artist brush, very long handle. That's because it's for oil paints. But I'm going to be using these for the acrylics we use from Games Workshop, and we're going to start off as per usual from metallic with Tin Bitz, and we're going to cover the dragon all over with a coating of Tin Bitz. So hence the reason I got a bigger brush. Now I've had a message off Andy from Mad Lad Designs asking about listing the paints I use. I have listed them on the video in reply, the ones I've used for this set. But if anybody's interested in paint, if anybody's got the games and want to paint it and watch these videos, you don't have to do it the same way as I do. This is my army, not yours. I'm painting these the way I want to paint them, and I'm not being funny by saying this. I'm just trying to help, because I'm not, as I explained in one of my replies to him, that I'm not here to show you how you should paint your figures. I'm here to just show how I paint my figures. So if you decide, instead of having green capes, you want bright pink capes with yellow dots, do them in bright pink capes and yellow dots. It doesn't make the slightest difference. You know, I know some people not very confident in painting and would like that little boost of confidence of following somebody else, but there's also that thing of individuality, which I'm all for, which is one of the reasons I'm repainting these, because I want mine to look different to everybody else's. Because I can go somewhere now and play with my Heart of Cormyr faction against somebody else's Heart of Cormyr faction and I'll get mixed up with figures, because my Heart of Cormyr faction will be totally different. But yeah, that's just me. I've always been a bit of a weirdo. Mind you, as the joke goes, if the normal people are the ones in power, I'm glad I'm weird. Oh dear. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to be showing you another tip, another trick after. You say this is a copper dragon, and there is something about the properties of copper. And if you can't work out what it is yet, you'll find out in due time. I hope this trick works as I only bought the paint today, and that's what I was advised to do. So if it doesn't work, blame the chap in Games Workshop. There we go. Oops, off the camera again. And bear in mind with this one, we're doing it when we're actually doing the copper part of it, that because there's going to be a lot of it underneath wings and fairly close to the base and in shadow, that I won't need to go over every little thing with copper. That's why I'm making sure I go over every little thing with the tin bits first of all, so at least it will look like it's all covered in copper, but some of it in shadow. So I don't try and hard not to leave any trace of this colour. Sorry, of this colour anywhere. So you need to look at really what you're doing with this model. Let's see. I can't see any more. Maybe a little bit there. I've just seen a great load of it here. Another piece of mist. Oh, yeah, all done. I think, no, still some areas there that I can't get at with my brush, and I'll see if I can get it with a smaller brush later on. So it's relatively, even though it's the biggest model in the set, it's a relatively easy one to paint. And if I go off camera, it doesn't really matter, because all I'm doing is the same thing as I was doing when you saw it on camera. Just painting everything tin bits. Gotta hide that pale creamy colour from the white undercoat and the wash, because that is something we definitely don't want. Okay. Let's go over this wing a touch more, because it doesn't look as though it's covered properly. And finally it's done. There we go. I'm saying finally it's done. There is that little bit. Oh, I say it's finally done. I've not finished painting underneath the wing that's on the bottom of the picture at the moment. See what I mean? So much for the taking close care to make sure that it's all covered in tin bits and blah, blah. Don't believe a word I'm saying. Oh, but seriously, this stuff is easy to do. The only thing holding you back really is your own confidence and just practice. I've said it before, I'll say it in every video I do. For anything like this, all it takes is practice and your time. If you put the time in to practice, you'll get there with it. I promise you, you will get there with it. Just have some fun. Enjoy it. Make it part of the hobby. If you're collecting games, paint your figures, make it part of the hobby. You'll thank me for it. I'm hoping any gamers who's watching these videos that after a while you'll start painting your figures and you'll see how good they look in game, and I'll get shed loads of messages. Thank you, Spider, for showing me how to paint and encouraging me in painting. If I encourage one person to get the brushes out and get the paints out and get going, I'm a happy man, because I feel as though I've done my job. Well, not so much done my job, but you know what I mean. I've achieved something. Okay, so the first of the new paints we're going to be using is Hashut Copper, whatever that may be. I don't know what some of these new paint names have got, and we'll go with the other new paint a little bit later, because that's the thing that we're going to be doing. It's a little bit special. So this time we're going to have again a change of brush, because we're doing oh, sorry for the noise, I'm just trying to get all my brushes out of me tub to see which would be the best brush to use. It looks as though all the ones I've got really are a bit too wide, but no, it's a fairly smallish brush. I'm just looking for a flat brush, and this, although it's been used to paint some green somewhere, I think I used it for my Dark Angels drop pod. It's gone a little bit green. Lost a few bristles on it as well by the look of it. But never mind, it won't do the job perfectly, because all we're doing is dry brushing over this with the copper, and that's basically the thing done. I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds to dry off, but that wing's dry, and that's the last bit I did. So let's give it a couple more seconds to make sure. But yeah, all we're doing is just dry brushing. So we're getting a very, very small amount of paint on the brush. And we're doing that by simply getting paint on the brush, loading the brush up fully, and then scraping all the paint off. And I mean all the paint off. We want a very small amount, so we are loading the brush up, and then we're scraping all the paint off the brush, and we can even go as far to make sure to do that. And then what we're doing Now, doing it this way, see where the veins are going across? What you want to do is you want to go against those. Because the one thing you don't want is all your little creases filled in. It's not covering as long as I thought this, so that's why I'm not scrubbing any more off. I mean, obviously if you get a bit too much copper on and it's gone in the veins, don't worry about it. This is the only one I would actually say, yes, you need to do this colour. Or something like this colour. Because it's a copper dragon. You don't want to do it blue. Or pink. Or purple. And I'm going to try and make it so that it looks as though the underneath parts are in shadow and the rest isn't, or the rest is more copper. And that's the idea of the tin bits. The tin bits will give it that natural shadow colour rather than trying to go over with a darker colour later. You paint it over in a dark colour and then you put the lighter colour on top, and that will give you your shadows. And I'm hoping you can see how this copper dragon is beginning to look. And I'm hoping you've gone back to look at the earlier video where I showed an unboxing of this game. And when you do, you will see the difference in the copper dragon in that and now. And to be honest, I wasn't really that what's the word? I wasn't really that worried about the copper dragon in the game. I thought it was they did quite a good job of, shall we say, colouring it in. But the thing is, if I'm doing one, I'm doing them all. Well, there we go. I'm going to do that big, I don't think you can see that muscle there. I'm going to do that big muscle, there's copper, back of the heel, there. There we are. Copper Dragon. And now to add a further highlight to the Copper Dragon, what we can do is go a little bit lighter than copper and go with shining gold. Just in a few places, not everywhere. And as I say, it's just to bring out highlights. So we can do some on here. And on here. And definitely rubbing up on that. Let me just touch more gold on there. You can see it's just gently on the horns, because we don't want it going all the way on the horns. We just want to take the very top highlight, very top surface. There we are. Now, this is the time when I said that I've got something to show you, and that I'm hoping it works. So what I've got is I've got my little palette, which you'll probably be able to tell what it is if you've ever bought a stack of DVDs or CDs. So I'm going to get some water in here. I'll show you what I'm doing now. Yep. Just some water and some Sotek Green. Can you tell what I'm doing? By any chance? And the Sotek Green I'm going to put in with this brush. So it needs to be watered down, and a trait of copper, when it gets oxidised, you get verdigris. On the wings, you're going to have traces of verdigris on them. There you go. And I'm just doing them on the actual flaps. I'm not doing it on the so the vein, you know, the main. So we call them veins for want of a better phrase. Just trying to run it down so it goes and pulls up like a wash around those veins. Okay, and do underneath as well. And so I'm not going over it all, I'm just doing little lines here and there. With these small ones I've not a real option, you're just going to get verdigris on it. And fingers crossed this will dry looking great. But I'll have to give it time to dry because it's quite wet, and there we are. Just pulling up in some parts. I'm going to try and stop that. And there we are. There we have our copper dragon. And as I hope you can see that that's looking incredibly like verdigris. We've got a wonderful looking in fact I think I may just do the entire that might look a bit better actually. I wasn't too struck on the colour at first when I suggested this in Games Workshop, but what a guy. There we are. And that's the copper dragon. So far, what I'm going to do before we close on this is his eyes. I'm going to do a scorpion green. My fine detail brush. Just a little. One eye. Two eyes. Oops. I know you can't see it very well. There you go. And the next step is, oops, to knock my camera off its tripod. Where have I put it? There we are. Screaming skull. And that is for the dragon's teeth. They may only be little, but he's got some, so we're doing them. And we are. And in the next video we'll come back and I'll show you how to baste them. So until then, take care, God bless, and bye for now.